Hi everyone, and welcome back to one more episode of our series called Brazilian True Crime. Today we're talking about a story that literally shocked Brazil. A story filled with faith, power, and betrayal. We'll dive deep into the life of Flordelis dos Santos de Souza, a well-known gospel singer, pastor, and politician, and her relationship with Pastor Anderson do Carmo, the man she was later convicted of killing. This case is a real-life example that even those who present themselves as a devout and loving can hide dark secrets. Viewer discretion is advised as the details of this case are unsettling. Who is Flordelis? Flordelis was born in Rio de Janeiro in 1961, growing up in one of the city's poorer areas. From an early age, she became deeply involved in the church and developed a passion for singing gospel music. Her faith was central to her life, and she quickly became known in religious circles for her charismatic personality and devotion to helping others. But it wasn't just her musical talent that gained attention. Flordelis was also involved in social work, rescuing street children and helping those in need, which only boosted her image as a saintly figure. Meeting Anderson do Carmo. Flordelis met Anderson do Carmo when she was already a well-known figure in her church community. Anderson, 16 years younger than her, shared her deep religious conviction and passion for ministry. The two connected over their shared vision for helping vulnerable communities, especially children living in poverty. Together, they built a family that would eventually grow to include over 50 children, biological, adopted, and foster children. Many of these children came from the streets, as Flordelis and Anderson became famous for their missionary work in Rio de Janeiro. Their ministry, Comunidade Evangélica Ministério Flordelis, attracted thousands of followers, drawn to their powerful messages of love, faith, and redemption. So, let me give you a bit of background here. Anderson was actually one of the children she rescued from the streets and put into her home as, a mom helped him. When they met, he would even call her mom because he was 16. He was 16 years younger than her, so he was like a teenager when they met. There is a footage of some interview that she participated, and he was there as one of the children that she rescued. And when he went, when he became a part of this family, he was actually dating her biological daughter, which later on Flordelis said, no, you're mine, I'm dating you. Which was not something that she would only do to him. Later on, it was found that, for example, 3 or 4 boys came and said, oh, we need to spend the night here, we need some help, we're out on the streets. And she would choose by giving them a shower and, seeing them naked and seeing which ones she likes more. And she would actually abuse those boys in that situation. As Flordelis' fame as a gospel singer grew, so did her influence. She recorded several albums, appeared on television programs, and even entered politics, becoming a federal deputy in 2018. Her platform was built on the image of a loving wife, devoted mother, tireless servant of God. Anderson was partner through it all, by her side in every aspect of their ministry and family life. Together, they became one of Brazil's most prominent evangelical power couples. They were often seen preaching together, leading church services, and promoting humanitarian work. To the outside world, they appeared to be the perfect Christian family, working tirelessly to spread the gospel and help the poor. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. The cracks began to show. While their public life was filled with success and adoration, rumors of tension within the family began to surface. There were whispers about financial disagreements, control over church funds, and jealousy within the relationship. Anderson, known to have a strong and controlling personality, was said to be the one managing the family's finances and holding significant power in their ministry. Family members later described Anderson as someone who dominated both Flordelis and their children, and this control was believed to be a source of growing conflict. Over time, the cracks in their relationship became more visible, even to those close to them. The power dynamics within their marriage and ministry began to shift, with Anderson becoming the key decision maker while Flordelis' role seemed to diminish. Also, it was later known that he was also abusing girls in the family, not only the adopted children or the foster children, but he also tried to abuse one of Flordelis' biological daughter. I think it's the same one that he was dating when they were teenagers, and some of Flordelis' biological grandchildren. He was stealing money from her. He was doing a lot of things. Actually, they were both very horrible people. We can't say it was just him. They were both horrible people. On the night of June 16, 2019, tragedy struck. Anderson do Carmo was shot multiple times in the garage of their home in Niterói, Rio de Janeiro, after returning from an evening out with Flordelis. He was rushed to the hospital but died shortly after. Initially, Flordelis claimed that they had been the victims of a robbery gone wrong, and she portrayed herself as the grieving widow. The family, friends, and followers were in shock, mourning the loss of Anderson, who had been a pillar of their ministry. However, the police investigation soon revealed that this was no random act of violence. During the police investigation, they found out that they were actually trying to poison him for a long time, putting poison on his food, and he even went to the hospital once, but it wasn't working, so they decided to try something else. The investigation, a web of lies. Within days of Anderson's death, investigators began to suspect that the story wasn't as straightforward as Flordelis had initially claimed. As they delved deeper, the police uncovered evidence suggesting that Anderson's murder had been orchestrated by people within his own household. And at the center of the plot was Flordelis herself. According to the investigation, Flordelis had convinced several of her adopted children to carry out the murder. The reasons behind the crime were complex. There were allegations of financial disputes, power struggles, and Anderson's increasing control over both the family and the ministry. It was revealed that attempts had been made to poison him on multiple occasions. And when that failed, then the plan to shoot him was put into action. The investigation further revealed that some of the children involved had been manipulated by Flordelis, who used her influence as both a mother and a religious figure to convince them to commit the crime. The evidence against her began to pile up. The trial and conviction. Flordelis was arrested in August 2020, over a year after Anderson's murder. Her arrest was a massive scandal, not only because of her celebrity status, but because she was a sitting congresswoman at the time. Her involvement in such a brutal crime sent shockwaves through Brazil's religious and political communities. During the trial, prosecutors argued that Flordelis had orchestrated the murder to gain over the family's finances and escape Anderson's dominating presence. They presented text messages, witness testimonies, and forensic evidence that painted a clear picture of her role in the crime. Several of her children were also arrested and charged for their part in the murder. In November 2021, Flordelis was convicted of masterminding the murder of her husband and sentenced to over 50 years in prison. Her fall from grace was complete, from a beloved gospel singer and politician to a convicted criminal. Many of her former followers were left grappling with the fact that the woman they had once idolized had been capable of such a heinous crime. The legacy of Flordelis and Anderson do Carmo. The story of Flordelis and Anderson do Carmo is one of the most shocking in recent Brazilian history. What began as a story of love, faith, and a shared mission to help the needy ended in betrayal, murder, and disgrace. The rise and fall of Flordelis highlighted how power and influence can corrupt even those who present themselves as righteous. While many of the details of this case remain shocking, it also serves as a reminder that the image people project to the world isn't always the reality behind closed doors. The case of Flordelis and Anderson do Carmo is a tragic one. It's a history of ambition, faith, and ultimately betrayal. As we reflect on this case, it's important to remember the lives that were impacted. Not just Anderson's, but the many children who were caught in the middle of this family tragedy. If this case moved you, please share with others. Stay tuned for more episodes where we'll continue to explore some of Brazil's most infamous crimes. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.